Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. We are going to do something really quick here. We are taking my first look at the Monport Reno 45 Pro. Now, obviously it's already out of the crate, but we are going to show you the uncrating. I'm going to rip the sides off of this. We're going to show you what it looks like inside, and we are going to knock out our first cut with this brand new machine. Now, I am in the middle of a full review, so expect to see that sometime in the near future, as well as a number of other projects featuring this machine. But for now, let's get into it. All right, here we go. First look, we have a new machine here. There's the logo from Monport. So we cracked the top off of this crate. Just want to give you guys an idea of how this unit is shipped. We've got foam all along the sides. We're going to get it out of this crate. We're going to get it up on the table and take a look and see what we got. Let us crack into this machine. See what we've got here on the inside. So, a couple of pieces of tape here, holding that down. And we'll open the lid, and of course, expect to see a bunch of stuff in here. So, got foam holding everything down. Looks like box O accessories. Let me grab that out, and we'll just do a quick little kind of first impressions here. So we got a nice, small, lightweight laser head here. Got a limit switch right here on the X-axis gantry. We've got our Y-axis motor there. In the back, we've got a screw here for our adjustable Z. We've got our honeycomb bed in there. And just going around the machine, this is all, it's all metal. So this is pretty nice in a desktop class machine. Looks like it's all aluminum. Over here we've got pretty fancy power button. Got our e-stop and our USB interface. Coming around the back, we've got our power outlet, we've got a ground spot, our information placard there, and then we've got hoses here for water. So water inlet, water outlet. We've got our exhaust fan here, and then there's nothing on the other side. So let's take a look at the accessory box. Looking at the accessory box, we have our power cord. We've got a 4-inch exhaust hose. We've got a couple of 4-inch rings there. We've got the water pump and a set of laser safety goggles, fairly long USB cable. This is just your standard USB-A to, I don't even remember what that end is, but pretty standard cable there. Do have a laser engraved focus tool. We've got some Allen keys, a 4 GB thumb drive, some little rubber feet, not sure what those are for, and then we have a 6mm long hex wrench that I believe is for ease of use in adjusting the Z-axis. So that is the accessories. The one thing I do not see is any kind of printed manual. So gonna have to go online and hunt that down. We've got our manual printed. I did find underneath the honeycomb is the knife blades. And after looking through the manual, just a couple things I want to point out. Some pretty cool features. This red stripe is not just for looks. It is actually a pass-through. Now, it's only on the front. There is no pass-through on the back or the sides, but it does give you a little bit of extra working area. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pop some panels and take a look at the insides before we hook this thing up. All right, this is the left side of the machine, and you can see we have linear rails here. Pretty thick and beefy. That's quite nice. And then this is something that caught my eye, and really what made me want to take these panels off is the adjustment knobs here for aligning the mirrors. They're not just the little, set screws that you see quite often. They're actually thumb screws with looks like a secondary lock there. So hopefully we're not going to have to do any mirror adjusting, but that is quite nice. Let's take a look at the laser tube. Here we are at the laser tube, and I did have to remove the top panel. It's kind of a smoked plexiglass, so you will be able to see the tube and make sure that things are firing, probably be able to tell that the water's running. But again, we've got those knobs on the first mirror here, and then we've got our tube. Everything looks like our wiring looks pretty good. We've got zip ties there. We've got our water. Looks like we actually do have a water flow sensor. You've got some wiring that's running down to the right side. And then here is our laser tube. I can't really, it's got a Monport label on it. It says peak power 50 watts, agreed power 45 watts. And that was, looks like June of 2025 was the date of production, so pretty new tube. We've got our high voltage connection here. Looks like it's probably in a ceramic connector there, and then it's very well insulated, so we shouldn't have any arcing problem. And then all the way to the back of the tube, and then we got a nice silicone boot there. And then, yeah, so everything is looking good here. We'll take a look at the electronics bay on the left side next. Now we've popped off the right side bottom panel, and here we can see there's our power switch, our emergency stop switch, our USB port. Behind that we have our stepper motor controllers. So you can see the dip switches there. Now it's going to be, let's see if I can get a view here. All of the connections are made with ferrules. I think that's the right term. So that is pretty nice. Behind that we have our air assist pump and then our electrical connections there. So you have your main connection, and then kind of above that there's a secondary jack that is actually used to provide power to the water pump. And then way back in the back there you can see that is actually the laser power supply. If I come around here to the back, you can see the laser power supply here behind this grate. I'm not going to take that part off because that is a pretty major panel, but I think we can see everything that we need to see at this point. Everything is hooked up and running. You can hear a couple pumps. There's the air pump, so the air assist pump runs full time on this machine, and then we've got the water pump running as well. Pretty well lit machine. We got our little display and controller right there. I'm going to grab a light here just so you can see what's happening. There is the laser tube. So with enough light you can see through this smoked plastic. There's our second mirror, and there's our first mirror back there in the corner. But yeah, so you can see the water running. And again, I am doing all my tests on this machine just the way they sent it. So I would definitely recommend, if you're going to be using any CO2 laser a good bit, to invest in a actual water chiller. That you can get one from Monport, or many other companies sell them as well. But we're going to go ahead and do our first cut. Of course, the first thing that has to be done before doing any kind of engraving or cutting is focus. Now Monport calls this a magnetic assisted autofocus machine. I'd say it's more of a magnetic assisted manual focus, but let me show you how this works. So they have this magnetic plunger, and they tell you to lower the plunger, and then of course, as we talked about before, you have your Z axis knob here. So I'm going to turn that, and they tell you to turn it until the plunger makes contact with your material, and then just keep on going up And at some point here, that plunger, there it goes. Gets magnetically sucked up. And apparently, it is now in focus. So, again, a little bit more of a manual focus with a magnetic assist. Now, what is nice about this system, and of course I haven't used it yet, but what I can tell you is a positive, is where a lot of autofocus machines that use a plunger system, the plunger is always hanging down, and it's got to be, you know, typically lower than the nozzle to make an electrical contact. And that means this thing is in the way. It's actually lower than the nozzle, and you can either drive it into your honeycomb bed or, you know, snag it on something and bend it, damage it, etc. This is going to be above the nozzle. So right here is the bottom of my nozzle. Change views a little bit. You can see the bottom of the nozzle. You do have a little side-mounted red laser there for positioning assisting. So we've got that done. Now we'll go ahead and frame this job and then get the cut done. Job is done, and I am a little bit surprised because we have a total cutout, which means I can go faster. All right, those results are pretty impressive. I definitely know I can go a little bit faster than 12 millimeters per second at 70% power with this machine. But expect to see that in the full review. Like I said, that'll be coming in the near future. So what do you think? Something like this interest you? Let me know down in the comments. As always, if you like what you see on the channel, I would appreciate giving me that little thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already done that, and go ahead and hit the notification bell so you get notified when I drop new content. As always, I enjoy the time that we get to spend together here on the channel, so let's keep on learning, burning, and printing together. Take care, everyone.